Hi everyone, welcome to the OpsLogix session for SCOMathon 2022. I'm Vincent DeVries and here with me is Jonas Linton, and we're going to give you a few updates about products we have been working on within OpsLogix.
Thank you, Vincent. And before we actually go and deep dive into the latest releases that we have, maybe it's a good idea to give a little bit about the background story on why we choose to develop these things. And maybe you, Vincent, can start to talk a little bit about the new updates that we have for the VMware Management Pack.
Okay, certainly. The VMware Management Pack, we have a couple of exciting developments. I think the most exciting one we're doing at the moment is the Ransomware Vulnerability Management Pack. Now, probably in the news over the past year, 2 years, you've been hearing a lot about crypto locking and ransomware, and maybe even a certain pipeline which was crypto locked, and which they had to do a huge payout to get everything back online. Well, what we've done is we created a free add-on to our VMware Management Pack to alert you when you have vulnerabilities or exposure to being crypto locked or having ransomware in your environment. Now, we didn't invent all these rules ourselves. What we do is we use the VMware best practice for this, and we created all monitors and alerts for that. So basically, it'll alert you when your attack surface is exposed, and you can go on to the site. It provides links to you also so that you can actually look up the best practice if you want to. Now, also, another exciting development, I think, within the monitoring space, which we do, is within VMware, we kind of looked at the containerizing workload, like Tanzu. But talking about containers, I think, Jonas, you know a little more about that.
Yes, certainly, Vincent. So one of the reasons why we started looking at monitoring containerized application was from user requests out there. And when we did a lot of digging and investigations inside of the VMware sphere, we figured out that maybe the best way would actually be to try and monitor the Kubernetes clusters itself. So we did a lot of development and investigation on this over the year, and we are really proud today to show you for the first time the new release of the Kubernetes Management Pack. We are also having some exciting new product updates to show for our Microsoft Teams connector. Now when SCOM 2022 is released with their built-in Teams integration, I think this makes a great addition for the people who really wants to connect their SCOM environment to Microsoft Teams.
Okay, so first let's take a look at the ransomware vulnerability monitoring we introduced in our VMware MP. So let's go ahead and take a look at the MP and how we actually do this. Now, the first thing we actually do is we deliver a couple of management packs for different versions of VMware. So we have VMware version 7, 6.7, and 6.5. These are the major versions which are used today. So when we go to monitoring and we actually go to the Health Explorer for our ESX hosts, let's open the Health Explorer for any of the ESX hosts we're running at this moment. Right away, you can see that we have a lot of monitors for our ESX hosts. Now there's one general monitor, which is a roll-up monitor for all the rules we have. So you can enable this one only if you just want to be alerted that there's a setting which might leave you vulnerable. Or by default, all of the other ones are enabled too. So basically you can take a look at the summary. This is the general one. And there's a link to the website of VMware, which explains to you how you can decrease the attack surface for your VMware environment and for your particular version, so 6.7, 6.5, and 7. Going back, we also deliver monitors which actually explain to you what you can do to remedy one of the attack surfaces. So you can run a PowerShell command, you can see what the vulnerability actually is, and then you can, we have suggested solutions for it. You can run that in PowerShell as well. Also, we do this for VMs. So when we scroll down a little bit, we'll open the Health Explorer for our virtual machines. And by default, we only enable the roll-up monitor for our VMs. The reason we do that is just for performance reasons, because it's kind of heavy for SCOM. Now, it's the same as the ESX roll-up monitor. So when you enable that, then you have a link, and it also links to the appropriate page in VMware. But if you go to these specific monitors, we have a summary what it does, PowerShell commands to see and to resolve a particular issue. Now, what you can do is you can enable and disable the monitors for VMs by adding them or removing them from groups. And this has to do with performance, really. So if you just want to monitor a couple of VMs for ransomware vulnerabilities, you can add them to the group, or you can add all of them or remove all of them, and then you just have the roll-up monitor available for that particular, or for all these VMs. So when we continue, we'll go back to the alert pane or the alert view, and you can see that we have many alerts here for ESX hosts and also various VMs. And you get a good idea here which particular ESX host has a possible attack surface or a possible vulnerability, and it also tells you how you can actually remedy the situation here. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this demo. I hope this is actually valuable for people who are concerned with the current day ransomware vulnerabilities in VMware, and hopefully this will give you some tools to decrease your vulnerabilities to this. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Vincent, for showing the new exciting addition to the VMware Management Pack for protecting your VMware environment. I would like to show you our new Kubernetes Management Pack that have been under development a while now, and this is actually the first demonstration that we will have of the Management Pack, and I hope you enjoy it. The Management Pack itself contains 4 different management packs. And we do have a library, we have dashboards and the monitoring, and of course the base library itself. When we designed the management pack, we always kept in mind that the clusters and the environments that we were going to monitor might be pretty huge. So using the collector that we have for the VMware management pack actually allows us to set up, a really lightweight but still scalable and enable load balance, etc. for the Kubernetes clusters. So making this solution a really enterprise-ready management pack. There is a resource pool enabled when you install the management pack, which the collector is running under, and this has the same functionality as the VMware, so you can actually choose which of the machines you would like to handle the load for the Kubernetes. Moving over to the monitoring pane, we will start at the top level with the clusters. We added support in this release for vanilla Kubernetes. We have in here, we have a Minikube installation. We also have OpenShift from Red Hat, but also an Azure Kubernetes service. As we speak, we're also running tests against VMware Tanzu, so you can have all your clusters in one single pane of view. Drilling down, we will move into the deployments. So a deployment in Kubernetes is used to tell how to create or modify instances of the pod that holds a containerized application. Deployments can scale the number of replica pods, enable rollout of updated code in a controlled manner, or roll back to an earlier deployment version if necessary. The next step is to take a look at the namespaces. In Kubernetes, namespaces provides a mechanism for isolating groups of resources within a single cluster. Namespaces are Kubernetes objects which partition a single Kubernetes cluster into multiple virtual clusters. Let's take a look at the services. And a Kubernetes service is a logical abstraction for a deployed group of pods in a cluster, which all perform the same function. A daemon set ensures that all eligible nodes run a copy of a pod. Normally that node that a pod runs on is selected by a Kubernetes scheduler. However, daemon set pods are created and scheduled by the daemon set controller instead. Let's go into the nodes. So a Kubernetes node is a logical collection of IT resources that supports one or more containers. Nodes contain the necessary services to run pods, which are Kubernetes units of containers, and communicate with the master components, configuring networking and run assigned workloads. Here you can see different properties of the node itself, which Kubernetes version it's running, what architecture, container runtime. Let's dive into the pods itself. And the pods are the smallest, most basic deployable objects in Kubernetes. And a pod represents a single instance of running process in your cluster. The pods contain one or more containers, such as Docker containers. When a pod runs multiple containers, the containers are managed as a single entity and share the pod's resource. Here you can also see the connected services for each of the pods. So let's take a look on the monitors that we have created. So let's start with the deployments. We will open up the Health Explorer for one of the deployments that we have here, the core DNS. And we can see that we actually have two available monitors for the deployments. One is for the condition available state and one is for the progressing state. So the progressing is when it's scaling out new or scaling down the pods itself. We can also take a look at the pods, and we have different monitors enabled for the pods. So let's take a look at the installer and open the Health Explorer. And just clear out the filter, and we see here that we have different monitors available under availability, but also some added ones under performance like CPU, memory, and we have the initialized state, pod scheduled state, and the ready state. So let's take a look at the alerts. So this alert view is specific for the pods. And here we can see one of the alerts for the condition containers ready, and information about the alert itself. We also have the same view for the all active alerts from within the whole Kubernetes management pack. And here we can see one alert for the core DNS and the deployment condition, which is in an unhealthy state because the replica set has timed out progressing. We also provide two dashboards, two native dashboards. One is for the node utilization performance, which shows you CPU, memory, pod count, etc. We also have one for the pods. This concludes the demo of the new Kubernetes management pack. And now I would like to hand it over to Vincent, who's going to talk a little bit more about the new Teams connector for Microsoft SCOM.
All right, thank you, Jonas, for the demo, the Kubernetes demo. It looks very exciting. I would like to talk about the Teams connector for SCOM a little bit now. And let me give you a little bit of background about the connector. Basically, we've been developing it a lot just because there have been a few feature requests. Now, one of the limitations about the first release we did, which was last year here also at SCOMathon, was that you could only connect up one management group to one channel in Teams. And a lot of customers found this very limiting. So what we did is we created a many-to-many relationship that you can connect up to 5 management groups right now to pretty much an infinite number of channels in Teams. So you can direct where you want to have your alerts routed to which channel. So you can do this for the various IT teams like the SQL team, Wintel team, and so forth. So let's take a look at the new version. So what you see here is the new tab within Teams. And let's install Microsoft Teams. So as you always do, you just go to More Apps, and then you go to the store. We search for OpsLogix, and in the store we have the SCOM connector. Now we click this, add it to a team, and that's the usual routine. And we search the appropriate team and channel you want to add the connector to. And we click the setup button, and then we get a nice splash screen to see if we want to inform our peers about this. And we'll cancel out this one. So here we are. So the first thing we need to do is go to the configuration portal for the connector. And the first thing we need to do here is create a connection. Now, as you can see, we already have one connection prepared. And let's just quickly change the display name for this because I don't like it that much. But you can see the management group is OLX SCOM G1 demo. So please pay attention that you keep the casing exactly the same as your management group. So I'll just change this one into demo environment, a nice display name. So now we're going to download the management pack. And as you can see, we have a zip downloaded containing the management packs. And what you'll find is there are 2 management packs contained within the zip. Now the overrides management pack already has the API key and the web address populated for you. So you can just import these management packs and forget about it because you don't really need to configure anything else when it comes to your management group. You can see that SCOM connects into the connector if the plug turns green. And when it's green, you can be pretty sure that a connection is made. So then we're ready to create some subscriptions. So in the subscriptions pane, you can add subscriptions. As you can see, we're already pre-populated one, all critical alerts. And this corresponds with the subscriptions you'll see in the configuration tab in Teams. So you can see it here. You can see the all critical alert subscription. And you can see that it's ticked so that it's active. Now going back, you can edit this subscription by clicking the pencil on the right hand side. But we're just going to go ahead and create a new subscription by clicking add. So the first thing we need to do is give it a display name, just give it a logical name, such as all SQL alerts or something. Then we need to choose the connection, so whichever management group you have connected up. And then we can create a filter. And these are SCOM groups which you can actually filter from. So we choose the appropriate filter, and we can also add some criteria if we'd like. So in this case, we'll use severity equals 2. And let's just make this description just a little bit more clear, all critical SQL alerts, and we'll go ahead and save the changes. So now we have 2 subscriptions. So when you go back to the Teams tab, you'll see that after refreshing or reloading the tab, that the subscription is instantly available. Now, one thing we don't really want to do is give the same subscriptions to everybody because we might not want everybody to see the same alerts. So we can actually do this by going back to the connector configuration portal and adding users to the subscription. Now just keep in mind that administrators of this page, they can always see all the subscriptions, but the ones you just add here, these users will be able to see the subscription when they connect in Teams. So the next thing we want to do is go to the posts. Now this was available in the previous version too, so this didn't change that much. We updated some parts. We just made it a bit more clear as well. But in general, you still see the same information. You can also see the alert knowledge. You can scroll through it. We'll still see the history. And we can also see the alert context and custom fields. Now we can also change the resolution state. So we can actually close it or set it to another state and execute the tasks for the various tasks if there are any associated with that alert. Also performance. We have live performance if there's any performance information associated with these charts or with the alert. And you can see it instantly. And also we can set maintenance mode for a particular alert or instance if we so choose. So we can give a reason, we can actually set a comment with it, and we can set the time and date until we want maintenance mode to be active. Thank you for joining our session and our product update. We certainly enjoyed telling you about it, and we hope you enjoyed it too.
If you want more information, or if you want to test out the new product releases we have, go to our website, OpsLogix.com, or send us an email at sales@OpsLogix.com. Thank you very much.